hardly any people watching this program, you know, who were fighting then. But I think it's just a very interesting story, and I mean, you know, most of the young Germans are not very fond of Germans' role in the First and Second World War. So,
well, I'll tell you what. That swastika, I hate it. And anytime I see a kid wearing it, I want to take it off him, because some of them will wear it arrogantly, you know. I want to tear it off of it and stick it in his mouth, because that ain't good. It's a symbol of, to me, it's a symbol of death. The man took thousands and thousands of people. I went in, when they took me or us, and they wanted to give us a bath one day. We hadn't had a bath in months. They'll give us a bath. Well, they had a bunch of Italian prisoners that they moved out of this area. And it had showers in it, but I'll tell you else what they had it when we get to it. When they took those prisoners out of it, so they said, well, now we can take this man down there and they can take a bath. See, we went down there and jumped in this place and started taking a bath. Man, it's getting cleaned up and everything. And after it's all over, I got to thinking, thick concrete walls, windows up here with bars on them, big thick doors. How did I know? After it's over with, yeah, but how did I know there was going to be water come out of those pipes instead of gas? See? To get rid of a lot of us all at one time, so we didn't have to feed them, mess with it, guard them, or do anything. Use these, I can use my men somewhere else rather than guard you people, see. But I didn't think of that till later, that gas could have come out of those pipes. And what the hell? That you bullnose you into the dirt and forget it. And that's what scared me up. After it's over with, see. But I sure did love that shower. Ooh, that was good. Now you say about what do you want to call it, the last mission? Mm-hmm. It was my last mission, yeah. Well, it was on a Sunday morning. And we got up about the same time that we usually get up, and especially if it's a long mission, you get up earlier. And then you get dressed, and the trucks come by and pick you up, take you to breakfast. And you got that, every mission I had that damn feeling in my stomach. You're going to make it through the day. You're going to make it through the day. Because there's a lot of opportunity to get killed, you know, not come back. But you had to weather that and grab you some bacon and eggs or something and get something to eat, see? And we went down to briefing, and briefing they'd have a great big huge map of Europe on the map. And they'd pull the curtain on it, and here's where we go today. And they pointed at Frankfurt. Oh my God, look how long that's going to be. My longest mission was 11 hours, see, and this would have been run about 8 or 9. And this was going on my 18th mission, see. And you had to fly 35, and then you could come home. I was halfway through. So he formed over England at about 25,000 feet. Just kept circling until all the planes was in formation. And then you took off, and at the coast, you'd probably pick up your escort, your fighter escort. And the fighters would stay with you a while, and the wings, I got to go, I'm running out of gas, see. And then another fighter bunch would come in and pick you up. And them fighters was kind of worried about us gunners, see. They'd stayed way under, you're supposed to stay over 600 yards away. You don't fire at anything unless it's within 600 yards. So they'd stay way out there, and they'd dip their wings to let you know that we're seeing you, and it's, you know, and looking around, and if there's any Nazi fighters, pilots come in, well, they'd peel off and take after them, see. Well, we went on, and getting closer to the target. We're about 28,000 feet, and the bomb drop called for about 28, something like that. Best I can remember, it wasn't overcast, and the bombardier was seeing the lead bombardier. See what you did, you dropped on the lead. He had each plane had a bombardier. And then toward the last, they put them, they took out one man, see, instead of, I'm telling you what what I didn't tell the interrogation officer, see, that we cut the crew from 10 to 9, see, that they would have liked to know, because there might be a blind spot on that trip if you take one of the men out of it. And the fighters stayed out there, and they got into the bombing area, and we got on the IP, and they started making the bomb run. And flack was starting. The fighters left because the flack started coming up. See, you're on your own, boy. Get on in there, get out of there if you can. So we flew on in there, ran in on the target, and then we dropped on the lead. Salvo, see, all bombs at once. And just as soon as it dropped them bombs, something hit the number 2 engine gas tank, see, and it shook the plane. Little Joe's he's in the turret, and he said, "There's a hole down in this number 2 engine gas tank big enough for me to crawl through." Joe was a little guy, but that's a big hole, though. He flopped that, and the pilot says, "Come out of the turret, Joe." He flipped those handles up, and that door flopped open, and he jumped out of that turret, see. Because you get a blast and that ball turret falls, ain't no way you can get out of the thing. Because you don't have your chute in there. Because when you get out, you pick up your chute and harness it on. Well, I had a backpack, see, because I didn't want to have to look for my chute if I had to get out. I have it on my back all the time. So we all come up to the waist, and they started jumping out. I mean, they didn't start jumping out yet because couldn't get the escape hatch or the door open. We'd pull the handle, and the little red handle says pull in case of emergency. And so I judged this to be an emergency, so we pulled the red handle. It didn't work. It's what it's supposed to do. You pull these pins at where it hinges, and then the wind catches it and peels it off. See, wouldn't work. So the man behind the one jumping held the door for him. And I was the last man, and nobody held the door on it, so I hung on the handle, and I was bicycling. And you got a parachute on, you got a Mae West on, you got a walk-around bottle on, because you can't breathe. There's nothing to breathe at 27,000 feet. Nothing. So you pass out after a couple of breaths, nothing there. So I had this walk-around bottle on, hooked on, and had my mask on, and out there trying to get loose. And finally I popped loose, fell of what I imagined about 2,000 feet, and reached over and caught my thing and pulled it. And the handle, I said, "I won't need you anymore." And I fell a few thousand feet, then I took the walk-around bottle off and threw it away because I won't need it anymore. And then pulled the chute, and it opened up, and I thought I was going to land in a little meadow, it looked all clear out in there, But when you got a meadow and trees, the volume of air or wind is in this open space because the trees displace it and they break the force of the wind, see? So as I got close to the ground, it just right over into the trees, and I hung on. Your German trees, it's got big foliage at the top and then it's skinny all the way down. Most of them, haven't they? They big foliage at the top. So I was there here and I was swinging, trying to get to it, so I could flex my legs around it. And I finally did, and I pulled myself up. And as I pulled myself up, the foliage of the tree would take up the slack. Here I'm trying to get into this tree so I can shimmy down. A bunch of civilians are watching me down there. So I finally got up on the tree, and I unhorsed my harness, and it'd come loose. And I would slide a little bit and slide a little bit till I got to the ground. Then I was going to take off my harness here, because I got out of the harness up there. I was going to take the Mae West off. See, I didn't need it anymore. So Mae West was for the water. If you landed in water, you'd have CO2 tubes, and you could float. So I took all that off, and there was a German boy down there. Looked like he was on leave with his girlfriend or somebody, and the rest of them were civilians. See, I said, "Oh shit." And I got a cigarette out, see. I smoked then. And I had usually smoked Lucky Strike, but the PX didn't have nothing but Camel, so I had a Camel. And we used to have a saying, an advertising promotion for the Camels is get a lift with a Camel. So I lit it up, and and these civilians come by, they slapped a cigarette out of my mouth. So we started walking back to what little town it was, I don't know. Because I'm sure glad we flew a little bit before we bailed out. Because, and you can't blame them. I'm talking about the people that lived in the town that you just bombed. One of your bombs fell in my house and killed my wife and children, see? Or killed my husband or my father, see? Well, now, what's he going to come up and say, let's have a cup of coffee? He going to cut your guts. He going to kill you if he can. So what he did, I was glad that we got out of the town, see? Because there was some of the guys was hung with their parachute lines, see? They'd catch them, hang them in a lamppost because they had bombed their homes, see? And I don't blame them at all. But you got to add that up to war. I didn't intend dropping bombs on his home. I didn't expect him not to be angry either. Like invite me in for tea or something, because I knew he'd be angry if I did, but I couldn't help it. It's just the thing of war. You know, you just can't do nothing about it anyway. They loaded me in the back of a truck. Well, they took us down to the Burgermeister. What's his name? Is that the guy that runs the little mayor? The Burgermeister was saying. He took us in there, and they took my heated suit away. No, the liner of my heated suit away because it had wire in it. So they unbuckled that and took the heated suit out because of the wire, and then give me the jacket back. And those days, I don't know whether you've read it about in your books or stories or whatever, but they didn't have trucks that had gasoline in them or fuel in them. They had a furnace in the corner of the truck. They burnt wood, and the fumes off of that went to the engine and made the engine go. And I looked at that. Strange to me, but who am I? I'm just a guest, a visitor here. I'm not going to say. But I had this old German fella. He was old, very old, and he had this rifle with him. See? I loaded his gun for him. He couldn't. He'd slam the thing back, and he would discharge. So I took it. It was Italian. He said, "Italian, nichts gut," and I said. I told him, I says, nix gay. And I took the gun, loaded it for him, and gave it back to him. Ich bin gut. I'm not going to do anything, see. And they was throwing this wood in this little tank over there to build up this gas or whatever it is they burn in the engine. And they were burning these little square pieces of wood. And pretty soon it chugged off, and we went off. I wound up in that night I stayed in a Luftwaffe jail or something, at a Luftwaffe base or something. So that was it. The rest of it was going from here to there, being interviewed, being taken here, taken there. And I found that the smaller the German guard or officer, the larger his pistol. And the bigger the German guard, the smaller the pistol. Everyone I looked at like that. I couldn't understand why, see. But little bitty officer, he have a great big Luger. And he'll got a great big, he have a little automatic dude over here. Why don't you put the big pistol with the big man and then, well.
And isn't that like anywhere in the world like that?
Oh yeah.
Huh? That's not typically German. This is.
They put us in the coaches first, you know, and on the train, and you had lines up there that you could hold, you know, because if you stood up in the middle of the aisle, you'd have to hold on to something. See, boy, there was a sharp Nazi officer sitting there in that seat. He had that cap on, and I looked at his shiny boots, and boy, I held on to that. I don't want to touch this guy. If I do, he'll have that little pistol come out of that bluey. You know, you're scared. You don't know what hell. And this is all strange to you. There nobody give you a book of what's going to happen. There nobody taught you what's going to happen. You had to play everything by ear. And from then on, they took us and put us in a baggage car somewhere in the back. But they were riding us up front with the first-class passengers, you know. And I sure didn't want to step on his boots. He had them polished shine. So I didn't want to make me angry. I didn't want to make him angry.
Would you show us the plane again for the camera? That the one you were.
There's one like it.
And where were you sitting?